Vanessa, it is a pleasure to have this conversation from Dominican Republic, a small country in the Caribbean where every year we are seeing more and more women joining the motorcycling community. Thank you in advance for your time to talk with me. I know because you just said it that you've been here before, so you're gonna tell me some ideas.
Yeah, I have been to Dominican Republic. Absolutely beautiful place. I came there, it was probably about 6 years ago now. It was a super chilled holiday, quite a bit of beach time, scuba diving, but I did do a day on a Harley Davidson and just like got to explore around the country a little bit more. And it was just beautiful. I really enjoyed it.
I love it that you said that. First thing I would like to do is to congratulate you and celebrate you for your bravery, discipline, and cunning in your recovery and post-hard training and becoming what you are today. I'm pretty sure you're going to achieve absolutely everything you set yourself to do. Secondly, to the public and people not watching this conversation, I would like to point out that we are not talking about the things that you can read about the girl on a bike, Vanessa, on the internet. Having said that, let's just throw a leg over, right? So, Vanessa, how do you train your mind, your body, and most of all, your soul to keep pushing harder whenever you get on a bike?
I think a big part of it is actually gratitude, and it's probably like not the answer you were thinking about, but a little bit of background for anyone that doesn't know my story. I got hit by a car while cycling in 2014, and it was pretty life-changing. I got 2 reconstructed body parts, and I had a 7-year recovery. And when you get that kind of sideways punch in life that just kind of knocks everything you knew about the world, just totally changes, there's a huge shift in your mental state and your perspective of everything. And I think the gratitude that I learned for what I did still have in my life and what I did still do, like weeks where I was just stuck in bed, couldn't even go to the toilet on my own and dependent on my husband bringing me food or my mum, or the gratitude and appreciation you then get for little things like the sounds of birds outside your window, or having a sweet taste of mango, or putting on some of your favorite country music. So then when you manage to eventually get yourself rehabilitated and able to do stuff, I have so much of appreciation for the fact that I can. And I might have excuses. I live a managed chronic pain from the accident, but it's like I can still do stuff. I can still make the most of my life. It could have been so much worse. I mean, I could have died. But for me, mindfulness is more about actually learning and realizing that I'm in control of my thoughts. And I used to always think that my thoughts were a result of my environment and result of what was being put on me in life, but it's not. It's my choice, what I allow in here. And by being more actively aware and in control of those thoughts, I'm able to then directly learn to control your subconscious thoughts, and all of that links to your emotions. So anything like fear, doubt, anxiety, self-hate, all of that kind of stuff, learning to sort of control my mind better, to cope with pain, all of it has massively helped through mindfulness. And there are so many moments where I'm like in a race, I don't know, say I'm in the middle of Tunisia, I'm 300 kilometers into a 475 kilometer day, my bike is on its side again in deep sand, and I'm just like, I can't do this, I'm done. It's like, well, you're not done, are you? You're still alive. You're in the desert with a bike that you chose to sign up for, love. Like, come on. Sort it out. Take a few minutes. Take some deep breaths. Have a drink. Have some water. Maybe shout at myself, like, woman up, Vanessa. Come on. You got to pick this bike up. And there's an element of pure determination. And that kind of stems from me really wanting to prove to myself that I still can. I went through a good chunk of time where I felt pretty pathetic and I really couldn't do much. You know, like having to have your husband do your hair because you can't even do this.
No.
It doesn't make you feel all that powerful in life. And so I suppose I'm just constantly determined to prove that I still can. And I also really like to talk. So I've just like given you a really long answer. And I have only done 2 parts of the question because I've still got the body. How do I train that?
Oh, you're talking about your spirit.
Yeah. So you said the mind, the soul, and the body.
Yeah.
So the physical fitness, I say I struggle with probably the most, which seems crazy because mental health is really hard,
Yeah.
but with the pain that I have, it very much links to the mental health as well. Like if I do, I mean, like running, for example, that's never going to be for me. I've pretty much been told running's not on my agenda. It's fine, I can ride a motorbike. Who needs to run when you have a motorbike?
Yeah.
But physically, there is a cost benefit balance for me mentally. And the cost benefit is how much do I enjoy it and how much does my body need it versus the amount of pain that it's going to exacerbate on my hip. And so cycling, for example, which was what I was doing when I got hit by the car, has always been something that I've just never been able to get back into. 12 miles was always like my pain limit, where it wasn't worth it. But I recently discovered an e-mountain bike, which means that the top load is off my hip and I can now cycle again. So it's about trying to adapt and find things that you can do with your body. And so for me, I can get a lot of fitness on a bicycle. I do a lot of fitness through actually riding motorbikes, and I'm also pretty active at home. We have what I can only say is a project house. You can already tell by like the bomb that's behind me. And we don't even have carpets. So I'm very active in the DIY side. So I think the combination of being really grateful for the fact that I'm alive every day, working really hard to keep my mental health kind and solid on myself, and then eating really well so that my body's fueled to be able to do the sports that I asked it to do. They're probably the key things to answer that question. But it was a long answer, I'm sorry.
No, it was the best answer, because it's a lot of things that you need to improve to get better and to keep your mind busy. And 2 words that I can resume from that: gratitude and the will to be better every day. From your experience, when did you notice specifically the difference of being a girl on a bike? How was that?
As in linking to gender, or linking to me starting the girl on the bike account?
Is there any difference that you have noticed about being a woman, a girl on a bike, or you just don't see that?
So it's a very strange one, because I realized that I came up with the name, the girl on a bike. But when I came up with that name, it had nothing to do with gender. Mm-hmm. It was just me being on a bike. What I've realized, obviously, which is pretty well known, is the motorbike world is incredibly male dominated. I think in the UK, it's about 8% female riders.
8%.
8% female riders. So, I mean, that's less than 1 in 10 of bikers in the UK are female, I believe, something like that. And when you go into the off-road, when you go into hard enduro, the extreme desert rally, I mean, it's even less than like Red Bull Romaniacs. I think there was 1% female racers, 500 guys and 6 women, something like that. Tunisia Desert Challenge, I was the only female. And so I think it's because those sports are really, really quite extreme, that end of motorbike riding, because it's brutal. It's carnage on your body. You're riding the same size bike as the men. You're doing the same distance, same terrain. And I think what I love about all of that is that you're not treated like the girl. I think it's great when some sports make female categories, but I don't personally feel like we need it, because girls can do everything.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit harder because of the body to weight ratio. We might have to work a little bit more of our skills and our balance, because we can't reach the ground because we're generally smaller, all of those kind of things. But I think my message to any females watching it is that, like, don't even consider your gender. If you are enthusiastic, credible, and want to learn, you will be well received in any sport. If you go into it like, oh, I'm all pretty and sexy and look how gorgeous I look and I'm going to wear my high heels and my bra, then yeah, expect to get slated and have no credibility. And also expect other females to dislike that, because to me, that down credits all of the girls who are out there with like legitimate interest, not like attention seeking interest. And I mean this in the nicest possible way. But I think just as be credible and be genuine. The female doesn't even matter. You can be male, female, relate, associate to whatever. It's just a sport, and we can all go out and have fun and do it together.
You said the word sport. It's different when you have a motorcycle and you enjoy your motorcycle than being an athlete as you are. And that's the principal thing that we need to have that, right? Nessa, I have a conundrum here. I really love my fat bob, but I have had many others strong feelings, like the one that I had with 701 Husqvarna. I just can't forget it. I mean, the power, the versatility, the joyride, we went everywhere. Have you had the same dilemma and not knowing which brand or type of motorcycle to choose from?
Definitely. Now, this is where algebra comes into it. So there is a formula for how many motorbikes you're allowed to have, and that is N plus 1. So basically, N is the number of bikes you currently own, plus 1 is the number you're allowed to own. I think, yeah, so I'm quite lucky in that I have 5 motorbikes now. And
now, but we don't know tomorrow.
They're not all crazy expensive fancy ones, like it's more that they're different types. So the easiest example is like the little black dress and the little black dress. They're totally different. Yeah. Yes, they're both dresses, but they do different things. And it's the same with motorbikes. So I've got a trials bike, a rally bike, a hard enduro bike, an adventure bike, and a cruiser. And so they all have their own time and place in my heart. And I work very, very hard to be able to earn the money to be able to have that many bikes. And I know I'm very lucky, but I hate the word lucky because I don't have those bikes because of luck. I have them because I studied really hard. I went to uni, I did a master's, I work crazy hours, and I spend my money where I get the most pleasure, which is basically on motorbikes. So I don't like the word luck because I think you can create your own luck if you want to call it luck.
Hard work to buy the motorcycles you want. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Now that we know that, we have to talk about the human love and ask you how it is to have Rocky Monster on your life. You mentioned something about the companion, right, during your recovery, but we need to more. How is it? Because it's something really nice to have a boy next to you during your competitions, your travels, your goals, your dreams, and everything you love to do.
Yeah, I'd say we're a pretty vomit-worthy couple to like most of our friends. They're just like, too cute. This is where I am very lucky that I met a guy who is like a pea in a pod to me. We're 2 peas in a pod. 95% of the time, 99% of the time, what we want to do is the same thing. We've got all the same passions and interests and kind of like morals and priorities in life, I suppose. So, I mean, I'm just so eternally grateful to be able to share life with him. He was a rock through my recovery, always there by my bed, looking after me. And now, yeah, unfortunately, he has a more normal job kind of schedule than me. So I do quite a lot of trips without him, and goodness, I miss him. He's actually doesn't live at home anymore. 2 weeks ago, he moved out Monday to Friday because he's just started doing a master's, which is the campus is 3 hours away. So Monday to Friday, he's over at university being a student, which is crazy exciting. But yeah, I miss him even more because then I don't get to see him on weekdays. But like life's like that. You're not always together, but the bond's still there, and we still have lots of excitement. And even just really dull nights sat by the fire in our cottage is heaven because it's with him.
Well, to study a master is a good thing to be a better professional. So let's just wait, right? Let's wait. How can exactly. Wait? What are the things motorcyclists don't tell you about going to a destination or a competition? I mean, which have been your biggest surprises, Vanessa?
Very big question. Okay, so specifically for racing, maybe?
Or let's go to Ecuador. Okay, nobody told me that about Ecuador or some place, some country that you have visited. and nobody told you some interesting thing that you needed to know?
Gosh.
Like, whoa, what was that? I mean, what is this? Or during a competition, like, why you didn't tell me this? I mean,
oh my goodness. Okay. I mean, like, there's so many places that I've been that I can relate to. I mean, even things like Bolivia, you need bug spray, which is really obvious, but I didn't think about it. So I got bitten on my first day, and then I spent 2 weeks with bug bites all up my legs, itching inside motorbike boots that rubbed and made the itching worse.
and it was like, you didn't tell me this.
Yeah, so Iceland was quite entertaining. It's very wet in Iceland. I had normal Alpine Star Tech 7 boots on, which are not waterproof. My husband had their new waterproof boots on. So he was all smug that he had his waterproof boots. But no one tells you that waterproof boots are absolutely bloody useless, excuse my language, when the water goes over the top. Like if you're going through river crossings or it's really raining, the water just goes in. But because they're waterproof, the water doesn't come out. So actually, in really wet riding conditions, waterproof boots are the worst things you can have, because you then just have boots full of water. Yeah. What you actually want is like sealskin's waterproof socks inside normal boots, so your feet are dry, but your boots are wet. But again, no one, once you say it, it's really obvious, because what if the water can go in over the top, there's no point in being waterproof, and then it just can't get out.
Yeah.
So that's probably my one. I'm going to stick with that one.
And what about the Romaniacs? I mean, it's a hard thing to get you to.
Yeah, that was a tough race. What did no one tell me about that? That it would be quite so satisfying hitting the finish line, which I guess is really obvious. I don't know. The thing is, I think I do a lot of research before I do these things, and I try and watch videos that are out there. So for like Romaniacs, for example, I've made a video on my YouTube channel which has everything you need to know about Romaniacs in one place, because I remember going to Romaniacs and not knowing some of the stuff or having to find out from like 10 different sources. So I then tried to go, right, here's one video of everything you need to know about Romaniacs. Mm-hmm. So hopefully I'm helping some of the learning process for people on my YouTube, but yeah, do your research.
Yeah, so I've heard motor trial and cycling are a must for every motorcyclist that wishes to improve their level. Who better than you that has practiced both disciplines to explain to us the reasons why that is true? You mentioned something, but if we talk about the motor trial, what else can we know from you?
I think there's lots of different disciplines of motorcycle riding, and a lot of people don't necessarily realize quite how many different types there are, and they are really so different. Like say, for example, you put yourself on a track day, you are braking with your front brake and not your rear brake. You don't even use your rear brake really on a track, whereas off-road, it's totally different. The way you put your weight on the inside of your knee down versus on the track, on the mud, is completely opposite. So there's lots of areas where having a bike behaving differently underneath you can improve your ability to know what to do when a bike does something in a different situation, because it gives you so many different varieties of biking. Now, trials riding is particularly incredible for off-road riding, and probably for road as well, really, because it's very focused on precise control. So really good clutch control, really smooth braking, and incredible throttle control, all combined with balance. And anywhere where you've got really good clutch control and balance is going to help you. Say you are on a massive Pan America off-road adventure bike or a huge GS. If you've got really good balance and clutch control, you can ride super slowly through technical terrain. You can poodle across a petrol station forecourt, not worrying about trying to dab where there's oil down or, gravel. So your actual bike control hugely improves. And there are things that I can do on bigger bikes that I really don't think I'd be able to do if I hadn't learnt them and practiced on a trials bike. It's so much smaller, so your confidence, you've got a lot less risk trying stuff. Like the first time you want to go over a log, you're way better off trying that on a 65 kilo trials bike than 100, 110, 120 kilo enduro bike. The risk and the size of the body, the mass as well, it's just, yeah. So trials is really.
We have seen that you and Rocky have your own workshop with all the bells and whistles. What do you recommend for someone who wants to work on its own bike?
So the owner's manual is the first place to kind of look. There's a lot of information in an owner's manual. There's huge number of videos on YouTube on how to do everything and anything, but you want to start with the basic of maintenance stuff, like oil changes, changing tires, checking your air filters. They're very, very easy things that you can just do at home yourself, and you don't need to be paying someone at a garage to do it. Honestly, if we didn't do our own work on our bikes, we wouldn't be able to afford the bikes that we have, because it just costs so much to have someone else do all these things. I have got a couple of videos on my YouTube about top tips for getting into mechanics and working on your bike, and some of the top tools that I recommend to have in a garage if you kind of wanted to try and build your toolkit up. So they could be worth watching on my YouTube. But I think the biggest tip I have for people is to not be afraid to try. Yeah. If you have a friend who maybe knows how to do it, you know, ask them if they might be up for shadowing you or talking you through doing something. But the reality is that majority of engines are actually quite straightforward. I'm not saying start doing a top end rebuild on your own, but changing your own oil, doing your filters, all of that kind of stuff, changing your own tires is actually really easily achievable. And there's a lot of resource on the internet to help you do that.
Vanessa, can you share some of the most interesting knowledge that you have learned as a speaker?
Yeah, okay. So I suppose confidence is probably a really important part of it. And it's very easy to be like, yeah, just be confident. You can't just be confident, but there are ways to become more confident, like doing preparation and going into it, knowing exactly what you're doing, having a good slide deck if that's what you're using, and really remembering the fact that if someone has asked you to go and speak at their event and they know your story, they know what you do, they obviously believe in you, which means if they believe in you, you should believe in yourself to do it as well. So go into it prepared and be confident, I think, is a really important thing. And then the other thing I'd kind of try and do with my speaking is not be too me. As in, yes, I'm there sharing my story and my journey, but I work really hard to try and make it relatable to other people, because my story on its own is just a story, but actually I want to try and add value. So by thinking about my story and how I can share it in a way that makes other people be able to listen and go, oh, okay, she was doing that and then she said to do that, maybe I could try that, and that might help me. And that way you're trying to like give something a little bit more than just a story to the audience. It's probably top tips.
Okay, and we know you are a motorcyclist, an athlete, an international speaker. Besides from being a girl on a bike, what else do you want people to know about Vanessa, the human being, the woman, the person?
That I am just a human being, and some people think I'm some kind of superhuman that has more energy or more skill or more capability than anybody else, and I don't. I just channel my energy into things that I feel important and passionate about. I am just a totally normal little human being like everybody else. And if you ever watch somebody else doing something and think, oh, I wish I could do that, well, you can, because remember that they are just a human too. They've got the same brain, the same bodies, like they've focused their energy on trying to do something well. You can do the same thing.
Okay, for the rest of this 2022, what are those big plans for Vanessa?
Oof, well, on Friday, I am getting on a Tiger 900 Rally Pro from Triumph and riding down to the south of Spain to then undertake the 1,000 Dunas, Mil Dunas desert rally on the Tiger, which I'm a lot nervous about. So yeah, doing a desert rally on a massive adventure bike. It will be fine. I then have a bit of time at home in November, and I'm going to try and do my rally license for cars.
Nice.
And November is kind of a bit of just trying to relax and have a bit of time at home. December, I'm going to Colombia with Big Little Rides on a all-female motorcycle trip, and so I'm very excited by that. And then it will be Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas with family.
I love it. Thank you very much, Vanessa, for having this conversation with me. I'm sorry for the delay, the internet connection, this and that, the Google Calendar that I missed was my fault. I'm sorry, and I'm pretty grateful for your time. And well, I'm pretty sure we have learned a lot from you, and now we got to know you better. I wish the best for you and hope you have the chance to come again to DR and enjoy this country and do some Dominicana en moto. Okay, we need to see you riding again.
That would be amazing. Thanks so much for having me on. It's been awesome to chat.
Bye bye. Thank you.